Good morning, everybody. On today's show, we have a plethora of gaming news. Updates on the Fallout TV show, Bethesda's plans for the series, plus Game Pass and more. There's just a lot going on today, and I'm excited to jump right into the show. So I'll see you in just a sec for the Level 1 podcast. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the show. I'm DSP. Today is Tuesday, the 30th of April, 2024, meaning I have a tickle in my throat all of a sudden. Great. Excuse me. Meaning this is the last day of the month, and it's been a good month. In fact, I would say this month of April, by far, was a turnaround month for me and for DSPGaming. Why? Well, if you don't remember, the months of January, February, and March, sadly, things were slowing down to a crawl around here. And what I mean by that is because I had been playing so many insanely lengthy, slow-paced RPGs that basically attendance, viewership, engagement, everything was down. And that's not good, you know? And especially time of the year when typically the first quarter of the year is rife with exciting new game releases. This year, there just were not that many high-profile games getting any kind of notoriety. Too many RPGs in an incredibly short period of time that made absolutely no sense, all cutting into each other's attention and profit margins. And the best games of the year were like little indie titles. You know, games like Pal World or Helldivers 2 were getting way more recognition and play than the supposed big AAA releases that were coming out. So, I turned it around, man. This month, things definitely changed for the better. Attendance, engagement, everything up this month for sure, and that's a great thing. You know, bringing back Elden Ring into the mix was exactly the right move. Gave us a month to focus on it, and now we're at the end, the Melania boss fight, the end of the game. So we're right on pace to finish it and then get ready for the DLC in June. The return of Street Fighter 6 to the rotation, playing with the 5 characters that I learned, you know, back when I was playing the game more often, and getting back into the swing of things. Perfect timing because now the update for Street Fighter 6 is coming on May 22nd. Bringing in some new games into the mix like Alone in the Dark. I myself actually playing Helldivers 2 after avoiding it for months. And of course, the new game Another Crab's Treasure that we're playing right now. So it all has worked. And of course, this all culminates in the last week when I started my Fallout 4 Modern run, bringing in the next-gen version and a brand new build of the Idiot Savant melee character, right? So, there you go. It's been a great month. I'm very happy that it brought things back. If you take a look, viewership's up this month, engagement is up this month, everything. Like, people are pleased again with the content on this channel, and that's a good thing. The way I see it, we can only go up from here, especially with the fact that in late May and then in June, we actually do have a score of new games coming out that'll be exciting. For the meantime, we have a good schedule in rotation going right now. So that's a great thing. And so today what we're going to do is very briefly recap, you know, the gameplay from yesterday, give an update on the schedule, sadly talk a little bit about some nonsensical stuff going on to me that hopefully we can recover from. And then we've got a big portion of game news. Lots of news to talk about today. I think I have like 4 to 5 topics to cover. And they're all going to be interesting and fun. So I'm excited for that, and then we'll see where the show takes us, okay? Cool. So, as usual, we should start at the beginning, should we not? Yesterday. So yesterday was a great streaming day for me. Like the first stream, we had a really great podcast discussing various different topics, which was fun. You know, some gaming news in particular. And then we jumped into Fallout 4 again, and I'm really enjoying the Fallout 4 playthrough for a couple of reasons. Number one, because this is the best performing Fallout game I've ever seen. You know, I played Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 4, Fallout 76, and this particular run, playing it at full 60 frames per second, playing it with, all of these updates and stuff that they did to the game. It's making it be super smooth. And I've never had a super smooth experience with Fallout before. I've always been like chunky, you know, performance. It'll be great. And all of a sudden, it just slows down to a crawl, bad frame rate. And it's not been like that. It's been a great smooth experience. I'm very excited for that. And the build, the fact that I'm doing a completely different style of build, no intelligence and no persuasion at all, right? Instead, it's all like brutish strength and idiot savant attitude, where I'm basically getting bonuses for being dumb, but I'm smashing things with melee weapons. It's kind of interesting and different from something that I would typically do in a game like this. So far, I'm having a great time with it. Yesterday, we had great progress where we continued on from the Brotherhood initiation mission. You have to do that first mission with Paladin Dance to be recruited by the Brotherhood, although you don't really do stuff. Like, he doesn't become your companion until you do more missions for him. I didn't continue with that plot line. I wanted to keep going towards Diamond City, so I did some optional stuff along the way, and eventually arrived at Diamond City, recruited Piper as the first human companion, grabbed a few, items and upgrades, especially a brand new slugger bat that has a bunch of nails coming out of it and has great AP recovery, so it's super good for my build anyway. And just in general, did good progress, and I like that I'm doing things in my own order. I'm not going linear like what the game wants you to do. I'm kind of jumping around and not particularly doing anything for too many different people or factions at any point. This is going to unlock a lot of content on the map for me to kind of jump around and do whatever I want, which is excellent. So far I'm having a great time, and to be honest, okay, I'm actually, like, sad when I'm done playing. Like, the stream will be over, and I'll be like, I don't feel like that was 3 hours. I feel like I was only playing for like an hour, and I want to keep going. But I understand that, Fallout 4, first of all, it's not a new release. It's not, okay? It's a new... Are we playing a game that's hot right now because of the TV series and the update? Yes, but it's not a new release. I can't just play it nonstop. I have to have a balance, with everything, and that's okay. So I'm playing it again tomorrow, which I'm happy for, and I'm enjoying my time with it. I wish I could play more of it, but I don't want to overburden the channel with too much Fallout right now. I want to keep it all balanced, okay? So it went well yesterday, okay? Really good stream. And I will say this as well, because I was actually having the discussion with my wife about this yesterday. I was like, so for the months that I was playing Baldur's Gate 3, okay? Here's the deal. Every time I streamed Baldur's Gate 3, a particular group of people would come out to watch, but it would only be between 200, 300 viewers, and honestly, it would probably be like 10 of the same supporters every day. And they were incredibly generous. They were supporting the channel with tips every day. But what happened was viewership went down, engagement went way down, and all the other kinds of support, meaning super chats, memberships, all that, completely dwindled because it was the same people coming out every day, and all they would do is tip, and that was it. So you didn't have that organic feeling of people supporting the channel because they really didn't like Baldur's Gate 3. I'm just going to be honest. The vast majority of viewers here didn't like that game. And I played it for over 140 hours because people were demanding it, okay? Now, with a game like Fallout 4 and others, that variety of support is back. And what I mean by that is people are showing up, so views are up. Engagement is up. People are talking. People are liking the streams. You know what I'm saying? And yes, variety of support has come back. We're back to the point where people are becoming members and renewing their memberships and gifting legit memberships. People are super chatting every day. This is great. That's the kind of support I need to keep this channel afloat. And for 2.5 months, it had died completely. And, we were in dire straits there, quite frankly. I was nervous, but things bounced back in a big way this month. So I'm very happy for that. And thank you to all of you who came back this month and checked out all the variety of content and supported it in any way. I really appreciate that, okay? Last night was Elden Ring, and man, much like a lot of games that I've been playing recently, I was shocked at my progress. Like, I thought arriving at the Hayleague tree, as I did, this was the beginning of the Hayleague tree. I thought this was going to take me a while to get through, because I remember there's like 3 major chunks to the Hayleague tree. First, you're on the branches and the outer buildings that are on the outside of the tree. And basically, you have to climb all the way down, and then you have the big Loretta magic boss fight. Then you have the city portion, which is big, series of like walls and alleyways, and there's tough enemies in that area. And then once you get through that, which is the second portion, Then you got the third portion, which is the rot, which is kind of inside the tree in almost like a cave system. And there's a bunch of pools of rot and annoying enemies. That's where the Millicent quest line happens. And then once you pass all of that, right, then you get to Melania and the end of the Haley tree. I thought it was going to take me multiple streams to get through. I did it all in one. I literally did it all in one stream. And I was like, you know what it is? It's a couple things. Number one, I remember it, right? Like, I remember this part of the game. So unlike going through it on a first-time run, I know exactly what to expect and where to go. Like, I could remember generally, oh, yeah, there's a shortcut up here. This is how you get here. This is how you get past here. Instead of me not knowing what I'm doing and fumbling around, I kind of had my bearings. Number two, obviously, it's my second run in the game. I'm playing better in this run than I did in my first. My build overall is much better. You know, my first run in the game was melee-based with the bastard blade. I think that's what it was called. No, blasphemous blade. And it was a whole lot of slamming things, a whole lot of jumping R2, right? This build I have right now is so versatile. Because I have magic, because I have a charged sword, right? I have different things I can use to win. And because of that, I'm doing much better, I feel, in areas like this. Like, I'm just kind of cruising right through it. So, yeah, I got all the notable stuff, too. I got the America Source Seal item, which is a really useful item. You know, we basically just coursed through it. The toughest part yesterday was the Loretta boss, because the Loretta boss is almost immune to magic, all right? And I have a magic build. So it's like, so how am I going to beat this boss? Well, I'm going to be tricky. I'm going to use the Night Comet spell, which is very damaging, and she cannot really dodge because she can't see it. Remember, enemies cannot see the night spells. So if I'm casting Night Comet, she just can't avoid it. She's not going to dodge. She's going to keep taking it on the chin. The problem was she also spams magic. So it was basically like a magic spam off between the two of us throwing magic at each other back and forth. And it took me a while to beat her because, again, remember, I'm weak. I take giant hits of taking, like, you know, half my energy or more per hit. What are you doing licking my water bottle? You licked my seltzer. How dare you? You don't get seltzer water. You don't want that. How dare you drink my water? Unacceptable behavior from the kitty cat here today. Do not lick my water bottle. My goodness. Okay. What was I saying? Oh, so anyway, don't lick the water. He's gonna do it again. Don't lick the water. You nut. He's purring. Don't lick the water, you nut. All right. What a silly guy. Okay. So basically, after Loretta, it was just more exploration, and I've made it. I'm at Melania, and I didn't think I was gonna get there this quickly. I thought it was gonna be multiple streams to get there. Okay. Now the one bummer is that I am one golden seed short of getting the final flask. I think, you know, if I'm going to take on Melania, I probably should get the final flask, right? That way I have the maximum loadout, and I am the best prepared possible for this fight. But I don't know where there are golden seeds that I've missed. You know what I mean? Like, I went and I swear I killed all the tree spirits. Maybe what I can do is go to one of those very early optional dungeons, and maybe at the end of one of those is one of the stupid ulcerated tree spirits that will give me one of these golden seeds, because I definitely want to get my final one. And then I'm going to take on Melania. And so that's going to take place tomorrow night on the late stream. So don't miss it. You know, I think it's going to be epic. The rematch against Melania with the new magic build. See how it goes. First of all, I don't even know if she takes damage from magic. Right? Like, I don't even know how that's going to go. Does she take normal damage from magic? Is she resistant to magic? I don't know. Should I use actual magic spells? Should I use the gravity spells that are going to do physical damage? Should I use glintstone magicians magic? Should I use the night magic? Or should I charge my sword and try to get frost build up on her? You know, like and plus, of course, she's going to have that ridiculous swallow song bullshit attack that I'm going to have to remember how to dodge, which of course I don't. I have to start over again. It's going to be tough. I'll go as far to say I do not expect to beat Melania tomorrow. I don't. I think that she's going to kick my butt, and I got to get back into the swing of things, getting used to dodging her attacks, seeing where the openings is and what works and stuff like that. Okay? So I guess we'll see. Oh, yeah, let's see here. Don Fanucci says she's weak to fire and frost. Princess Consuela says she does take magic damage. It's extremely hard for a caster, though, unless you're good at rolling and dodging her big attack. Exactly, the swallow attack. Because that's the thing. I'm weak. I'm not a strong guy in this build. So because of that, I take a lot more damage than I did in my original run 2 years ago. So that swallow attack's going to eat me up, man. I got to figure out how to get around it. Anyway. So that being said, it's going to be interesting tomorrow night. All right. Now, I do want to talk about something very annoying that happened last night. Okay. And seriously, I hope that it's something that it's not going to affect me and I can recover from it. Okay. So last night I'm streaming Elden Ring. Now keep in mind, it's incredibly difficult, Halig Tree. It's the hardest part of the game. It's the toughest enemies. It's challenging enough. As I'm sitting here, all right, and I'm playing the game, I receive chargeback after chargeback after chargeback from someone who was an anonymous tipper, but apparently it was all the same person. They had been tipping me just about 2 weeks ago, and they had done a series of big tips for several streams that allowed me to hit the goals, and I was celebrating, putting on the vest and everything, and it was all fake. This person is now committing fraud and trying to say that over $200 of tips that they legitimately sent me, because each one had a legit message attached and everything, are fake, okay? So now, here's the problem with that. First of all, I immediately lose that money. It gets taken away from me, okay? Number two, I'm in a situation now where I have to try to fight these chargebacks, and I hate to say it, but sadly, it's kind of a crapshoot, all right? You never know what's going to happen. And I can show evidence. Hey, look, here's when they came in. Here's me corresponding with the stream when it came in, when I shouted it out, right? And here's the evidence that, here's the email and the message that came through and all of that, right? It's very, very frustrating. It's number one, it's not resolved quickly. Even if I dispute these and try to get them, cleared up, it could take upwards of more than a month sometimes. So that money just sits there frozen, and you don't know if you're going to get it back or not. Okay? It's just really frustrating because it also depends on how they did it. And I'll be honest, I didn't even look into it yet because different chargebacks are done different ways. And if it's done a certain way, then sometimes you have a higher chance of winning the dispute. If it's done a different way, then you have a much lower chance of winning the dispute. And honestly, I hate to say it, PayPal to this day is still set up as if they think you're buying and selling physical goods, which quite frankly, most people who use PayPal, they're not using for that anymore. It's just stupidity that it's still set up that way and so outdated. So they'll be like, oh, so provide the shipping information. There is no shipping information, stupid. There was no product sent. This was a tip during a live stream. Like, what are you talking about? It's moronic. Why are you asking for that information? There won't be any. But again, it's like kind of like working with banks too. Today, banks still act like it's the 1980s with the way that they operate, with their hours, the way transactions work at a bank. Oh, you want to deposit some money? Well, you got to take like 2-3 days for it to clear. What the fuck are you talking about? Everything is digital today. It should be instant. I can transfer money between PayPal accounts. I can do payments all over the place, but the bank is delayed, right? So it's this kind of the same thing, is that they get these really outdated practices. They just don't understand how things work in the modern era. Anyway, so here I am playing Elden Ring in some of the hardest parts of the game, and I keep getting chargeback notifications, and I'm like, this sucks. So here's the deal. This is not the end of the world. It was, I did the math. I think it was around $225 or $250 or something like that got charged back. It's not horrendous. It just sucks. That's money that I had earned. Like, when you think about it, that's like a couple days earnings, right? Lost now. And it's not anything crazy, but at the same time, I really need to have a couple good days. Like today and tomorrow, my final 2 streaming days of this week, I need them to be good streaming days. You know what I mean? Like, I can't have slow days now. If I do, that's actually going to really hurt me. I'm going into the new month. All my bills are coming due. I just had to pay a bunch of money because I finished my taxes and everything. I had to pay for that. So, it sucks, the timing. Oh, by the way, I just got in the mail. Oh, time to renew your car registration. Oh, yeah, thanks. Thanks a lot. Really needed that right now. Just another, I guess how much that is? $200. Gee. If my money hadn't gotten stolen from me, maybe I could pay for my car registration right now, right? So anyway, it's pretty annoying and frustrating. There's nothing you guys did wrong or can do about it, but you can help right now by supporting the content in some way. Maybe you're someone who hasn't particularly been watching any of the playthroughs recently, but you still like the content. All right? Please support it in some way. Anything would help right now, quite frankly. Being that today's the last day of April, even if you were to do like a super chat or a membership today, it would count, and I would get paid for it next month, and that would help. But particularly, if you could tip today would be great. If you could tip tomorrow, it would be great to help make up for this lost stuff. That would be amazing. If we can hit some of these tips goals in the next couple of days, yes, that would help a lot. But I'm not going to sit here and talk about it all day. I'm just going to mention it because, yeah, it happened live during the stream last night. It frustrated the shit out of me as I'm playing a tough game. This happens. I'm like, son of a bitch, right? But I'm not going to be bringing it up all day or anything like that. I just want everyone to know, if you can help me right now, that would be great. And if not, it's fine. It's not the end of the world. Things will be tighter, but it is what it is, okay? So, thank you in advance to anyone who supports the content in any way. I really appreciate that. And let's move forward positively, shall we? Okay, so now let's go ahead and talk about the schedule for the rest of the week. Today, it's the return of Another Crab's Treasure. I played this originally back on Saturday, and I really liked it. Oh my God, excuse me. Oh, excuse me. Sorry, I didn't mean to belch like that. Yeah, Another Crab's Treasure, a Souls-like game set undersea with a cartoony vibe, but plays similar to Dark Souls and Sekiro. Today is actually the first time I'm going to be utilizing a bunch of the game mechanics, including the parry and repost and plunge attacks and stuff like that. I actually just unlocked them, so it would be great if we could do that, okay? See. But anyway, I'm excited to see where the game goes. I actually looked into it, and they actually said that the game is around 15 to 20 hours long story-wise, but I guess the game actually does have optional content. Now, I wouldn't know that, but I guess, yeah, there's like more optional content in the game you can search for, and then the game could be upwards of 30 or more hours. So, depending on how it goes, the first stream, I liked it, and it was growing on me, although there was some frustrating things about the game. For example, the controls are very similar to FromSoft, meaning, for example, if you press the dodge button, you won't dodge. You have to press the dodge button and release the dodge button, and the dodge happens on the release, which is really stupid, okay? So, yeah. I just got to get used to that. I'm doing it already in Elden Ring, and now I got to get used to it in a different game, which is kind of frustrating, okay? But so far, I've liked the atmosphere. I like the environments. I like the quirkiness of the humor and the design of the world, how the whole undersea world is full of litter, and that's basically the items in the world is human shit. It's kind of fun. And I'm excited to see what else comes out of the game today. What new areas will we go? You know, what will we unlock? It should be pretty fun. And, of course, to use this parry system, too, to see if it's effective and fun to use. We're going to see. So, I hope you will join me today, okay? It should be a good time. Please stick around for Another Crab's Treasure. I think it's going to be a fun game just like any FromSoft game. The thing is, I hate to say it, there are some people that are actually very, very kind of almost prejudiced against a game like Another Crab's Treasure. And you might say, what? Why would they be prejudiced against it? Because of how it looks. They think because Another Crab's Treasure looks cartoony, almost like a Disney movie, oh, that game can't be good. It must be for kids. It's not for kids. It's challenging. It plays like a FromSoft game. It's for kids. Look at the design. Hold on a second here. Just because it looks one way doesn't mean it's only for a kid's audience. You can have games that look kind of cutesy but are designed for adults. This one absolutely is. And it has that kind of very challenging gameplay. I'm going to die a lot playing it, likely. I'm going to have some rage-inducing moments, which is what you like for when I play a Souls-like game, right? So just because it doesn't look gothically dark and there's no gore, does that mean it's a bad game? No, it means that you have a really stupid bias. Like, that's really dumb. Give it a shot. Watch me play the game and then make a judgment. And if you don't like the game based on what you see, that's one thing. But to make a judgment based solely on the art design of the game is really stupid. And a lot of people sadly seem to be judging games like this today. Oh, did you see how cutesy that game is? That's a terrible game. Well, that's dumb, man. I can't believe people say and act like that in 2024, right? Like, how many times over the years do you think something's going to be one thing and it ends up being something totally different and good? And vice versa. How many times do you look at something and it looks like it's going to be amazing, and then it's a piece of dog shit? Starfield. So I think we got to stop making these judgments and just, enjoy and see, right? Let's find out together. Let's play and see exactly what it is. So I hope you'll stick around for me. Exactly. How about that? Notenko Dinero says, like Wind Waker. It was incredible. It's my third favorite GameCube game. How many people, when Wind Waker was coming out, were actually prejudiced and actually saying, we don't think this is going to be a good Zelda game. We're biased against it because it had a cutesy nature to it. And it ended up being an outstanding game, right? So I'm giving that game a chance. I want to see if it's good. So far, 3 hours in, there are some frustrations, but there's a lot of things I like about it, and I can't wait to jump in more today. Please stick around for another Crab's Treasure. Or, on the flip side of that, if you're not here live and you're just watching on demand, I hope you'll watch the videos on demand, give it a shot, and let's see together, if it's any good. Okay? Cool. Okay. Continuing on, later tonight on the late stream, I will continue with my gameplay of Street Fighter 6. Tonight, it is Zangief again, and tonight I'm going to attempt to do some ranked play with Zangief. I think what I'm going to do is play just a little bit of casual, maybe like a half an hour of casual play just to warm up, and then we're going to go to ranked and see how I do. Currently, my Zangief is 3-star diamond ranked. I would like to get him to master. We're going to see what happens tonight when I play. I'm going to try to utilize all the strategies and things that I've seen top players use. I did watch another top player, Zangief, last night. Didn't really learn anything besides I had forgotten that Zangief, excuse me. Oh my God. I had forgotten that Zangief has a wall bounce with jumping roundhouse if you charge it. So if someone's open and doing a move and I could jump right into them and hit them with that wall bounce, you can actually do a crazy good combo. It's just charging, jumping roundhouse, which is the drop kick. Then they bounce off the wall, then you down forward medium, and you cancel it right into his air throw. And it combos for, like, no exaggeration, like 60% damage. It's insane. So if I can get that, my God, that's going to be an amazing punish. So we'll see if I can remember to do that tonight. That's a much better option than, say, just doing, like, jump in medium and then a bunch of mediums into clothesline. It does, like, double damage to that. So see if I can remember that. But outside of that, it should be interesting. Let's see how I do. And go from there, but I hope that I can get to master soon. Like, my goal would be, let's get Zangief to master within the next couple of weeks, so that way all 5 of my characters are in master, and then that rebalance patch will hit, and we can see if they're any better. I hope they improve my characters, man. Like, pretty much all the characters I'm using are low tier, right? Zangief, Honda, Lily, they're all low tier. Dalsim, he's like mid tier, right? And then Blanca, higher mid tier, considered lower top tier, but not really top tier. So I'd be interested to see what they do with these characters. Hopefully they buff them, right? So there you go. That's tonight. That's tonight on the late stream, 6:45 p.m. Pacific time. Now tomorrow, for my final consecutive streaming day of the week, it's going to be more Fallout 4. Very excited for this stream, as I just got Idiot Savant level 2, and I'm hoping to get even more leveling up and keep improving my melee build. It should be a good time. I even have a great melee weapon I'm using now. And then tomorrow night will be the Millennia rematch of the century as I fight the toughest boss in FromSoft history again with this new build, and we see how it goes. Like I said, I am not predicting at all that I'm going to beat her tomorrow night. I think it's going to take multiple streams with this build, but I'm going to try to at least get back into the swing of things, learn the patterns again, the timing, and see what's effective. Okay. I'll be off from streaming on Thursday. When I come back on Friday, it'll be more Another Crab's Treasure and Street Fighter 6. Saturday, of course, then will be Fallout 4 and probably more Elden Ring. And we'll go from there. All right? Good stuff. Now, keep in mind a couple quick things. Number one, new games hit May 21st with Hellblade 2 and the System Shock remake. May 22nd is the giant Street Fighter 6 update with Akuma and all the balance changes. So we've got a lot of stuff going on at the end of May. But we'll have 3 weeks to focus in on all the games I'm playing right now and get good progress. By the way, once Elden Ring wraps up, we'll probably get more Helldivers 2 into the mix, because I know right now people are like, well, what happened to Helldivers? You're not really playing it. Since we're at the end of Elden Ring, it makes more sense to focus on that, right? So there you go. Now also, a couple other quick housekeeping things. At the end of May, I want to do a marathon. Right now, I'm strongly leaning towards an Indies marathon, unless you guys have other ideas. It seems like the Indies marathon may be the best thing to do, because I haven't done one in years. So likely what's going to happen is in the next week, I'm going to put a thread up on the community tab of this channel where you can nominate indie games you want to see me play. And the good thing about this is now, yes, PC games are eligible because I can play them on my mini PC. So we're going to probably do a fun day of indies at the end of the month. We'll probably get some food, probably get some booze, probably have a good time just relaxing with indie games. And it should be a fun marathon event. Okay, so that's coming. In addition, Final Fantasy 13 is almost complete on my DSP Throwback channel. I've spoken with my editors, and I think we have come to the determination that we want to do LA Noire next. And I think that's going to be great, a good one for the channel. It's the other missing playthrough that has not been uploaded to the YouTube. It's been gone, deleted from YouTube for years. The original LA Noire playthrough is likely the next project that will be coming out over on the DSP Throwback channel once Final Fantasy 13 concludes. Okay? All right. Well, that's about all the housekeeping stuff I think I needed to talk about today. And all right, guess what? It's time for my favorite segment. It is time for your favorite segment. It is time for everyone's favorite segment here on the Level 1 podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for DSP News. And we have a good amount of stories to cover today, so please allow me to start talking about those. First off, it is absolutely crazy good news in regards to the Fallout TV series. So now it has been out for over 2 weeks. I think now it's like 16 days, something like that, or something like that. And it has reached over 65 million views on Prime Video in a little over 2 weeks. This is the second most watched TV show on Prime Video ever. I wonder if you guys know what the most watched show on Prime Video is, but it's the second most watched ever. This is great. No, they weren't anticipating this level of success for the show. It actually has exceeded their expectations of what they wanted the show to do. So they are absolutely stoked with how well it did. Some people are guessing. Handmaid's Tale, The Chris Pratt Show, Lord of the Rings, Invincible, Rings of Power. The answer is yes, Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power did better. However, what people don't realize is that Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power started off strong and actually lost viewership. The real reason Lord of the Rings got the views it did is because it's Lord of the Rings. It has a giant viewer base. There's 6 movies, right, that all did well, and a humongous worldwide reader base of the books. So they all went in droves when they heard there's a TV series based on Lord of the Rings. They all went to watch. By the end of the show, most people didn't actually like it that much. So it had giant views based on the hype, but likely what's going to happen is if they do a season 2, it probably won't have nearly as many viewers. It was like the initial building hype, and then people were like, oh. With Fallout, it's the opposite. A lot of people went into it not knowing if they were going to like it, and they were pleasantly surprised and want more. I would go as far to bet season 2 will have more viewers than season 1. Okay? Now, following up on that, okay, Todd Howard, okay, coming out in interviews, says the following. Number one, he says, the next season of the Fallout TV show will not retcon the Fallout New Vegas game. That the Fallout New Vegas game will be in line with the plot of the show. So that's why it takes place after. So whatever you see in the show will be canon. The canon ending of Fallout New Vegas is coming in season 2 of the Fallout TV show. That's going to be huge for Fallout fans. People are definitely going to want to see what was the canon ending. Number 2, Todd Howard has hinted at the fact that even though Fallout 5 is nowhere on the horizon, okay, they want, and when I say they mean Bethesda, want more Fallout content and titles to come out faster. In fact, he even mentioned like the words fast tracking. And he's hinting at the fact that since obviously Bethesda is inundated with what they're doing right now with games like the new Elder Scrolls, that they may have other companies work on Fallout instead. I would say Obsidian, who made New Vegas. The problem is because Bethesda neglected Obsidian and told them, no, don't make a spin-off game of Elder Scrolls. No, don't make another game of Fallout. Obsidian is making their own game called Avowed. So really, I don't think Obsidian would have the manpower to make a fast-track Fallout game. honestly. So I'm a little, I mean, is it good news? Yes, but it's also nervous news. And the reason I say it's nervous news is, I hate to say it, when you fast track a game in these days, that probably means flipping assets that they already have. I mean, the newest assets they have are Fallout 76, and that game is old. Do you really want to see a new Fallout game come out with the same graphics and assets of the games that are already out? I don't think really want to do that. I want a new one. You know what I mean? And in addition, if they rush it, I mean, like Bethesda games don't already have enough issues at launch, right? Now imagine they purposefully have a company fast track the next Fallout game. Like, oh no. I mean, I would think the best option would be have a company like Obsidian or another company that has similar capabilities work on the next spin-off game and have it come out around the time of the next season of the Fallout TV show. You might say, well, when will that be? You don't know. The Fallout TV show might come out in a year. It might take multiple years. It depends on, I guess, how high scale and high end do they go with season 2 being in New Vegas, and, you know, do they go all out with crazy sets and stuff, you know? I could see it definitely going different ways. So anyway, for me, I'm excited. I want more Fallout content. I told you guys how dumb I think it is that they released a TV show that is now a hit, and the newest content they have to offer anyone is around 8 to 9 years old to say, hey, go play Fallout. I mean, it's dunce level shit. Todd Howard should be fucking ashamed that he's running that studio so poorly. That is the dumbest fucking move I've seen. Release a series that's now a hit and we have nothing to offer anyone but old games. What a fucking moron. So anyway, let's see what happens with this. I'm sure what's going to end up happening now is they're going to be scrambling and clamoring, oh shit, we got to make Fallout, and we're going to see what happens. You know, I just hope they put it into competent hands, because here's the problem with this. If they put it into the wrong hands, and the Fallout game that comes out is a rushed, botch job piece of crap, then there's no point. You know what I'm saying? Why put out a piece of dog shit instead of nothing? I'd rather have nothing than dog shit. Honestly, I'll just play the old games like I'm doing now. I'll go back, I'll play Fallout 3 again or whatever. I'd rather play good ones than a rushed piece of crap that now is going to make the series look bad, right? Okay. Continuing on, listen to this one. Tell me if this story makes any sense to you. Does anyone know the arcade chain Dave & Buster's? Well, if you don't know what it is, at least I know it's in the United States. I don't know if it's outside of the US, like maybe Canada or something, but it is an adult arcade line. You go there, there's a whole bunch of video games, there's ticket games, there's redemption games, but also there's a bar, there's a full sit-down restaurant with food and drinks, and it's meant to be like, you can take the whole family there, but really it's for adults to go and have a drink and go on like a date or whatever and have a good time, okay? So, just listen to this story, okay? They have announced customers can now make friendly wagers on the games at Dave & Buster's. So, for example, you can make a $5 bet on a game of Hot Shots basketball, or a bet on a skee ball competition, or playing an arcade game. What? What is that even? What? You can bet. So you're in Dave & Buster's, and you see some guy playing the basketball. You walk up and say, hey, man, I bet I'm better at that than you. I bet you $5 that I'll sink more hoops than you. And he goes, let's do it. And you start shooting, and whoever wins, wins $5 from the other person or whatever, right? And I say, well, what are you talking about? Well, for those who don't know, Dave & Buster's has a virtual card system. In fact, most arcades these days have virtual card systems. You don't go in there and actually put a token or a quarter into the machine, or there's no money that changes hands. You walk up to the desk at the beginning of your visit and you say, I would like to put so-and-so amount of money on my card. And they just scan a plastic card, and it's like a credit card basically, and boom, now you have credits on there that you swipe into all the machines, and every time you play a game, it just takes the credits off of your card until eventually it's down to zero. So what they're basically saying is now there's going to be some kind of a way to gamble those credits against other people in the arcade, okay? Now, first of all, who's to say that this kind of thing doesn't happen anyway, but just with real money? Like, if you actually wanted to, like, bet someone, wouldn't you say, hey, I bet you $5 I'll shoot more than you, and then you play, and you're like, okay, here's $5 you won, or all right, give me $5 I won. I guess the thing is enforcement. Like, if it's just two idiots doing it, and then someone says, well, I'm not paying, they can just walk away, and there's nothing there. I guess you could meet them in the parking lot, beat them up, and take the money. But I don't think that Dave & Buster's would have any involvement in that. You know what I'm saying? But, but for me, like, when I hear this, it's like, so let me get this straight. You are now going to take a casual environment that's meant to be like, have a few drinks, have some food, just play games casually. Yeah, every once in a while you have a competition against your friend. Oh, who's better at skee ball? But now you're going to actually have money involved. Now you might say, well, it's not money, it's the credits. It's still a currency that you have purchased. It may be a digital currency that only has value at Dave & Buster's, but it's still currency. You see? I think that's how they're going to skirt it. They're going to say, oh, it's not gambling, because if it were gambling, it would be for real money that you can cash out. Well, you can't cash out at Dave & Buster's. Your money that you spend there, you've permanently spent there. All you're doing is transferring credits around accounts. So I think this is how they're actually going to skirt gambling laws, because you may not realize this, but there are very strict laws in place when it comes to gambling in the United States. Anything where there's a prize or actual money that changes hands has to be supervised. You have to make sure that it's fair, that people aren't getting ripped off, right? Because, man, can you imagine that? If there was, like, if Dave & Buster's was skimming, let's say, for example, you make a $5 bet against someone in skee ball. You win, and then you get $3. Wait, what happened? Oh, well, Dave & Buster's keeps 2. They're skirting off the top. Huh? So, see what I mean? Like, if there was real money involved, that would be considered something that needs to be legally regulated, especially certain states in the United States are very strict on gambling. But because it's digital and it's the in-store currency, I actually think that it's going to be different. Like, they're going to say, oh, that's how it skirts the law, and therefore it doesn't need to be regulated, right? But let's be honest here. When you have a legalized gambling that's going to happen, okay, here's what I see, a lot of problems. And here's why I see that. Because this place, Dave & Buster's, is not known as a serious place. People go there and they booze it up. Like, they'll go there, they'll hit the bar, they'll start drinking, and then they go play games all buzzed or drunk, which is fine as long as you're doing it responsibly. But now you're going to interject gambling into the mix. So essentially what you're saying is go there, be irresponsible, spend all your money, right? Drink up a storm, get drunk, and then gamble against people in these games, lose a ton, and lose all your money, all your credits that you spent. Like, to me, all I see is problems. I could just imagine now you're going to hear stories of giant fights breaking out at Dave & Buster between people who are gambling and got pissed with each other. Oh, you cheated in this, and they start fist fights and shit because it's actually the money or credits on the line. Now, again, you can't cash it out, but still, that's money we're going to spend there. Imagine you go on a date and you get buzzed and you now play 5 games of skee ball against the guy and you lose all the money you were supposed to spend on the date. You gambled it all away. And now you can't even have your date. And your date's like, what the fuck's wrong with you? You see what I'm saying? Like, what? It's kind of changing the entire notion of what Dave & Buster's is supposed to be. Again, I'm not saying that there weren't always gambling at places like this, but it was never meant to be serious. This could make it a serious thing. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Like, to me, I don't think this is a good idea. I think you're changing the very notion of what Dave & Buster's is. Maybe it's Dave & Buster's is just really on a downswing. I mean, let's be honest, COVID affected a lot of stuff in a really negative way. And maybe a brick and mortar business like this, right? A brick and mortar arcade. First of all, arcades are already on the downswing, even the gimmicky ones like this. And now to say, well, how else are we going to get people to come to the arcade? Have them gamble in skee ball and basketball. Like, what? And plus, the other thing is, who's going to be supervising? And what I mean by that is, how does this work? Because let's say, for example, you say, we're going to play skee ball, right? So you're both playing and you beat the guy next to you by 500 points. And he goes, fuck you, and he walks away. So who supervises to make sure you won and you got your winnings for what was bet? Who's officiating the gambling? Because you can't just have it be friendly gambling between two people. People are just going to say, fuck you, and walk away and never be honorable about it, right? So, I don't know. I'm just saying, like, it just seems weird to me. So, I guess if there's more information about this, I'll follow it. But it was just such a weird announcement. Who would have thought that they would start actual, like, official gambling at a fucking video arcade? I think people are taking shit too seriously, man. Right? Anyway, there you go. Let's continue. Game Pass. Update on Game Pass. Here's the Game Pass games that are hitting Game Pass in early May, for those who are interested, who have Game Pass like me. Today, April 30th, Have a Nice Death. I have no idea what that game is, but it's out today. Okay? May 2nd, Tomb Raider Definitive Edition. Now, wait a minute. Tomb Raider Definitive Edition, is this not, what you guys were telling me to play just a few months ago? Is this not the modern remake of Tomb Raider? It's the classic games remade for modern audiences, right? I don't know. But if it is, I mean, that's interesting because it just came out a few months ago and I didn't play it. Maybe I would eventually play it via this rather than spend money on it. Because some people had asked me to play it. But I'm not sure if that's what Definitive Edition is. Tomb Raider Definitive Edition. I think that's what it is, right? On May 7th, you have Kona 2 Broom. I have no idea what the hell that is. All right. On the 9th of May, Little Kitty Big City. Now, if you don't know what Little Kitty Big City is, okay, check out my react show from Sunday. I think it's part 2. I actually watched the trailer for it. And the best way that I can describe this game is it looks to me like it's Untitled Goose Game with a cat. So it's got all the cutesy things about kitties, you know, their mannerisms, their attitudes, silly things that they do because their playfulness and inquisitiveness, but also they're causing mischief in this game. They're tripping humans and doing silly things. So looks like a cute game with puzzle structure, and it could be a fun one if you like a game like Untitled Goose Game. It looks like it's in that vein. So give it a look on the 9th. I might actually check it out because it looks interesting to me. On the 14th of May, Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons is going to be on Game Pass. But what's weird about that is, did they not just release this game remade or remastered? So I don't know if this is the remaster or not. It's not clear. I guess I'll have to look into it. But anyway, Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons is super good. I played it many, many, many years ago when it was first released on Xbox Live as a digital release. And it is a co-op game. However, you can play it solo. And I played it solo, and I loved it. Not only did I like all the gameplay elements, but it has an incredibly touching story. So if you have never checked out Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons, I strongly recommend it as a game to check out on Game Pass this month. Okay? Cool. 2 more stories. Story number 1. Xbox is going to have a major showcase coming up of their content. It is coming up Sunday, June 9th, 10 a.m. Pacific time. This is the big one. This is the one that they do once a year. This is their replacement for the E3 show. All right. And so they are going to be showing off tons of things from Activision, Blizzard, Bethesda, and Xbox Game Studios. And probably in one of the lamest attempts that I've ever seen to create hype for something. Okay. What they decided to do was show a poster that says, "It's time for the Redacted Direct." The what? So it shows a logo, and then obviously there's a name, and they blocked it off with a black line of like marker. And then down here it says something direct, and that's crossed off with a black line of marker. And then it says from developer, and they crossed off that too. But it's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. You could just, all you need to do is squint, and you could tell it says Call of Duty. So obviously they weren't attempting to actually hide the fact. They thought that it would be like, wouldn't it be cool if it looks like it was redacted? Oh yeah, it looks so cool. This is the boardroom. The bunch of idiots sitting in a boardroom who think that they know what's cool with the kitties. Oh, let's do a little creative thing. We'll block the title out and we'll just call it the Redacted Direct. And they won't know what it is till the actual direct starts. No, you idiots. We already know it's Call of Duty. You could tell from the logo. You could tell from the text. You didn't even block all the text. It's definitely Call of Duty. So out of touch. So anyway, what it looks like, it's a Call of Duty Black Ops game. Okay, this year it looks like it's going to be Black Ops' turn to come back into the fray after like 7 years of Modern Warfare. So anyway, mark your calendars. All right. In fact, I'm going to put it into my calendar right now. June 9th. 10 a.m. Pacific time. Okay. Yeah, I'm probably going to cover it because there is no E3 anymore or anything like that. I will likely cover it, meaning we'll probably watch it together live on the React channel, and then I'll probably do a recap reactions to it after the fact, to summarize what we just saw or whatever. So that day, I'm probably not streaming gameplay for that stream. We'll just watch that together, which means, of course, that will throw off my week because I do my React show every Sunday. But, I mean, this is on Sunday. What are you going to do? I guess that means it would bump my React show to the Monday after. There's nothing I can really do about that. Okay, so yes, there will be probably a live react to that event on that Sunday, June 9th. Okay? Cool. Last story of the day, and then we can get to shout-outs and some Q&A interaction. You ready for this? Square Enix is expected to recognize a 22.1 billion yen loss in content abandonment. What that means is that they had a board meeting on March 27th, and the board of directors voted to revise the group's approach to development of high-definition games, meaning, I guess that would mean not mobile games, with the intention of being more selective and focused in the allocation of development resources. So basically, they are going to stop working on 120 million worth of investment that they already had into games. They're just dropping certain games that they were working on. What games? They haven't said. There's a lot of speculation about this. If you take a look at social media and people chatting about it, a lot of people seem to be thinking that this is massively going to affect games as a service and things like that. Because apparently Square Enix was actually investing quite a lot of money into games as a service, and now they have no actual confidence in it. Other speculation is that a lot of people are saying this is Square Enix's fault because if you take a look at the games that they've been releasing, they keep making them exclusives. For example, Octopath Traveler, a Switch exclusive. Final Fantasy 16, Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, PS5 exclusives. And by making everything exclusive, they keep shooting themselves in the foot because they're not appealing to the broad market, only to a select group. And it doesn't make sense. With their games, they should be trying to go out there and reach as many as possible and play on every platform, and it's not working. But you know what's funny about that? All right? I'm just going to make this comment. Did you play Final Fantasy 16? Did you notice that the game did not perform well on the console graphically? It did not. Many times the graphics would chop up, the frame rate would be low, even no matter what mode you had it on. Okay? So if they couldn't develop that game to run well and it was a console exclusive, can you imagine them now trying to make that game cross-platform? Can you imagine them trying to get that to work on the Series S, right? I hate to say it, but in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, things are not like it used to be. Back in the day, the problem was essentially the technology. Like, the game developers had ideas and things they wanted to do, and the tech hadn't caught up with it yet. So therefore, the things didn't run well or whatever. No, I don't think that's the case anymore. I think that the hardware we're using is fine, as evidenced by the fact that there are many games that run beautifully. 1080p, 60 frames, tons of detail. But then all of a sudden, you get a game like 16 that doesn't. Like, well, what happened? Why is the frame rate choppy? It's the game devs. I hate to say it. I don't think that the quality of game development today is as good as it used to be. And I think a lot of the fact has to do with the way that they develop games, the time frames they're forced to work to, the milestones they're forced to hit, the amount of crap they're forced to wedge into the game that management wants them to have in there that probably bloats the game and makes it fucked up. I just hate that fact, but I think it's true. I don't think that we're seeing the level of expertise and mastery of the form of game development anymore because that model doesn't even exist. The companies like Square Enix probably doesn't even want their game devs to be that good to be able to make those masterpieces. You know what I'm saying? They just want the game to pump out and make them profit. So they lose everything else in the mix in the process, you know? You can't have a situation where you're trying to get people to rush out new games, right? But then expect those games to be amazing and flawless and perform well. So what ends up happening is, all right, well, make it so that it'll only be for one console. Maybe then our guys will be able to make the game run much better or whatever. I mean, even I remember when Final Fantasy VII Rebirth came out a few months ago, people were strongly criticizing the graphics, saying, why did the graphics look blurry and pixelated? Because that's the corner they had to cut. The game actually has a variable frame rate so that it will run with the amount of detail they put into it and all the things going on. You know what I'm saying? And people don't like that. We want it to look good. We don't get it. We spent all this money on this fucking hardware and you can't get the games to run good. What is going on in the modern era? And it's just truthful. When a game used to come out, it used to be they made their maximum effort to make that game shine and look good. And now the games come out and they're barely functional. They're choppy as fuck. They got tons of bugs. And then you expect that people are going to care? Like, what did you think would happen? Right? I mean, seriously. Square Enix in particular. We know that a lot of their decisions in the last several years have not been very smart. The choices they made with putting them on a certain console. Final Fantasy 16, as much as they want to tout that it was a sales dynamo, it was not. They just said, oh, it did live up to our expectations. Okay. So your expectations were that it wasn't going to sell as well as other blockbusters? What does that mean? You know, they kind of screwed up with the direction that they went with their games for the last several years. And it, you know, it sucks. Like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is a fine game in my opinion, and it has undersold. It has absolutely undersold. All reports are the game is a huge sales failure for them. They were expecting this to be their big one for this year, and it has not performed anywhere near what they had wanted it to be. And why is that? Is it because it's a second in a row PlayStation 5 exclusive? You can only play Final Fantasy on PlayStation right now? Is it because it released in the middle of an insane amount of other RPGs that already stole its thunder? You know, Baldur's Gate 3, Like a Dragon, the Persona 3 Reload, the Granblue Fantasy game, and then right after it was Dragon's Dogma 2. Is that what happened? Like, what is the reasoning? Because Remake was a humongous success for them. Coming off of the heels of a huge success, it makes no sense the sequel would then be a failure. So what happened there, right? And I think that's what they have to do, is they have to start looking at those kind of factors and figure out where are they going wrong, you know? Because when you are scrapping $120 million of investment into games, you're just saying, fuck those games, we're not making them anymore. That's bad. That just shows really bad management, that their leadership doesn't know what they're doing. They're focusing on the wrong games and wrong titles, and they need to right the shit. I hope they do. I like Square Enix games. I don't want to see Square Enix go under because they keep fucking up. I mean, they've already sold off a bunch of their IPs, you know, and now I want to see them in the future succeed and get better. I don't want to see them crash and burn. So I certainly hope that doesn't happen. Okay? All right, guys, that was a lot of game news. I told you we had a lot today. And there we go. We're finally done with it. So now, let us switch over to some shout-outs and Q&A discussion. All right? So we're going to start on the YouTube side of things. And to be frank, all we have right now is YouTube side. We don't have any tips yet. So let's see what people are talking about here. We've got a first super chat of the day. Came in from No Tango Dinero. And said, happy to spend my birthday partying with the boys. Well, No Tango Dinero, happy birthday to you. Thank you very much for the super chat. And I'm excited to spend the day with all of you. So thank you so much. We had someone named Proxy Land Giraffe who did a super chat that I guess is supposed to be an insult, but I don't even understand it. Just listen. Shout out to Atlas. Enjoy the pittance, Phil. All right, shout out to Atlas. Okay, shout out to Atlas. They make fine games. Enjoy the pittance, Phil. You paid me and then called it pittance. You do realize I make a living doing this, right? Just saying. You may think it's pittance. I make a living sitting here in front of a camera, talking to an audience, hanging out and playing games. So, fine. If you want to think that it's like, haha, a pittance, I have a good life. So thanks for the pittance, because it adds up to a good life, and I appreciate that. I don't know why you said something that stupid. No Tango Dinero did another super chat. Thank you for that, No Tango Dinero. And then Jordan with a super chat saying Stardew Valley. Perhaps, you know, if we're going to do this Indies Marathon, which is looking more and more like we're going to do, then, yeah, Stardew Valley would absolutely be a contender in there, right? And hopefully we'll get a good variety of games that are nominated by people. And by the way, no, that's not open yet. We're just kind of, you know, deciding now what we're going to do in regards to that. So we'll see. But yeah, yeah, Stardew Valley would absolutely be eligible. In fact, I own Stardew Valley on PC on Steam. I've had it for many years because I did it in an Indies Marathon 100 years ago. So there you go. I'm sure the game's probably like different now. They probably added so much shit to it and everything. I bet they did. Okay, so like I said, that's what we've got so far. No tips to shout out. Now, just to remind you, sadly, I have received tons of chargebacks yesterday. So I really need to have a good day today and tomorrow. If you like me and my content, please support it today and tomorrow. All right? Well, anything is appreciated right now. But obviously hitting the tips goals would be huge for today and tomorrow. So please support if you can. Fair enough? Okay. That's all I've got for now. So now we will open up the chat to some Q&A, or if any contributions come in, I will shout them out. So thank you, and let's see what you guys have to chat about today. Joel Loft says Bethesda could bridge the wait and build up anticipation for Fallout 5 by remastering Fallout 3 in New Vegas alongside the show. Capitalizing on Fallout merch would be the smart move. They supposedly already have a Fallout 3 redo in the works. If you remember, there was the big leaks last year during the court proceedings where Microsoft was trying to buy Activision Blizzard, and there were people suing to stop it. And basically, during the court proceedings, they accidentally uploaded the files to the wrong place. Yes, I know that sounds really stupid, but they did. And so a bunch of internal documents that should not have leaked did. And one of the internal documents had stated that a Fallout 3 remake was in the works and was going to come out, you know, relatively soon. So we have no data. Since then, since that leak, they haven't really spoken on that or any updates on it. So we don't know if that's still the plan or whatever. But I guess we'll see as we get further in. But I would personally love a Fallout 3 remake. I don't know if they would do it. Like, how would they do it? Would they take Fallout 3 and put it in the engine of Fallout 4 or Fallout 76? Would they have a whole new engine? In which case, it's more of almost a new game than a remake, right? Like, how could they do it? I definitely don't want it to just be Fallout 3 with 60 frames. Because you can already do that, right? Like, didn't they already upgrade the game to be that on Xbox series of consoles? I think they did. I don't know because I haven't played it yet, but I think they did. So I would say, you know, they have to do something. I'm okay if they do it with the classic game. I'm totally okay with that. Because, by the way, this new audience coming in from the TV show need to have the background. And right now, the only way they can get the background for the series is to play incredibly outdated older games. They're great games, don't get me wrong, but they're very old and outdated. And so to have that presented to a modern audience in a better way probably makes sense. But what is the better way that they could do quickly without having that 5-year dev cycle to fucking do it? Because again, this is the problem with Bethesda that we found out during the development of Starfield. It's been leaked. One of the people who were the head devs of Starfield quit the company and revealed this. The entire company is bloated and full of bureaucracy, and you can't get anything done. He basically said if you needed a chair to be rendered for the game, it would take you like a month to 2 months to get a chair rendered. Because it has to go through 17 departments of approval and shit. It's just a nightmare bureaucracy over there, the way they've set their company up. It's horrible. It's like a dog shit company to work for. So, can you imagine? Oh, we need to rush out a fucking Fallout game. Okay, what's the fastest we can do? 7 years. What the fuck? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what are you talking about? So, for me, my take, I want something good, but man, I want something that's worth the time. I don't want them to poop out a turd. But at the same time, they definitely should get something out fast. And if that means it needs to be another studio, even if it's a remake of Fallout 3 in New Vegas, I'm totally on board for that. I'd be happy for that. Just give us something to consume to get to capitalize on this Fallout mania, right? Okay. Helixification, thank you for the membership. And Well Swayed, 3 months as a member, says suggestion box, please. Spoonbox. Spoonbox? We don't have time. It's 12:20. Sorry. The news. I knew we were gonna have a lot of news today to go over. It took a while to get through it. I received my first tip of the day, and it is a very generous $30 tip from Dan the Man. Thank you to Dan the Man for the very first tip of the day. Enjoy this very embarrassing animation of me dressed as Chun-Li and dancing around. I appreciate that very much. Thank you so much, Dan. That will help a lot. And that gets us really close to our Tier 1 tips goal already for the day, just to start. Thank you for that. Okay. Very embarrassing. Okay. What's the highest level tip animation? I don't even know. 200. I have a $200 tip animation. Here, I can read every one. So we've got $4.20, $5, $10, excuse me, $4.20, $5, $6.66, $10, $20, $30, $50, $100, $150, and $200. We have all of that. So there you go. Okay. I have no enemy. Says he's excited for more Another Crab's Treasure. He downloaded the game on his Series X and he's loving the vibe of it. And he says also he's liking Sandland. It's addictive. I'm feeling a little sad because, you know, I'm a fan of Akira Toriyama. I love his work. You know, all his games are great. And this Sandland game, I don't hear a single person talking about it anywhere. And I follow the gaming trends and everything. And I think it just kind of released at a time when other things are massively overshadowing it. Again, people have massive RPG fatigue right now. And the hype things right now are so hype. Like Fallout is hype. Helldivers 2 is still holding strong. And I feel like it just kind of, it's for a niche audience and maybe they're enjoying it. But man, I hear nothing about this game. And it's been out, what, for a few days now? I haven't seen anyone really covering it or talking about it or anything. So I hope that doesn't end up being a forgotten game, especially because Mr. Toriyama has passed away and this would have been like his like legacy final game or whatever. I don't know. Oh, let's see here. What's the most underrated game of all time? Bugstacks. David H says Square Enix has a new president. He's redoing everything. You're just going to have to give him a few years to see if he fixes the company. Final Fantasy XIV is keeping the company alive. I mean, I would believe that because Final Fantasy XIV is a huge success. So maybe that really is the consistent product that's keeping them alive while everything else is floundering. I don't know. Why not do a modern fighting game event of older games this past decade like Tekken 7, DOA 6, Street Fighter 4 Ultra, MK10, and so on? Because who would care about that, Felix the Man? What are you talking about? First of all, even trying to play those games online, you probably won't even find anybody. Like right now, if I tried to boot up like Street Fighter 4, right? You probably get only a few people who are left playing it, and it's probably the people who've been playing it since day one and never stopped. They would just sit there and body me, destroy me with stuff I don't even understand what it is, right? Same thing, like Tekken and all that. Like, you can't just stay away from a fighting game for like 10 years, go back to it, and then play people and be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have fun hanging. I'm gonna be competitive. No, you're not. You're going to get slapped around, you know, like that's kind of the nature of fighting games. I don't even understand what you're talking about. Like, what kind of event would this be? Would this be a marathon? Would this be a series of streams? Would this be offline play, online play? You need more information there, Felix DeMade. I don't really know. I don't get it. Okay. I received a $4.20 tip. Someone says, hello, Phil. Find me at 4:20. I'm about to consume a vast quantity of recreational goodness, so wish me luck. Much love from the Midwest. Well, thank you, whoever that is. No name associated with that. But enjoy your partaking of hydroponics. That is indeed what you're doing. Just do it in a safe environment. And be sure to have some bags of Funyuns nearby. They're very delicious at that point. Trust me. Okay. Blue Jungle, thank you for a super chat. And it says, the support projections are looking good. Let's go. If you say so. I don't have support projections. I'm just happy to get support of any kind. But thank you, Blue Jungle, for the super chat. What is up, Game Boy? How are you today? Welcome to the stream. Are you going to hang out for another Crab's Treasure? I don't know about that. I have no enemy says, even though you don't seem interested in it, Dragon Ball Z Sparking Zero could be the last Dragon Ball Z game for a long time because of the unfortunate passing of Akira Toriyama. Did he have a hand in it, though? Or does he just sign off on the rights to his IP, right? Like, if he is the creator of Dragon Ball, first of all, does he even own it? Is he a partial owner? Did he sell it at some point? I don't know. There's a lot of Dragon Ball stuff out there. Leads me to think that, like, he probably doesn't have his hand in everything. And I'm sure there was a plan, right? I'm sure there was a plan that if he passed, that the ownership would go to someone else, either a family member or a company, something, right? A trust. So I don't think that this is going to be the last game. I think this is going to, I think it's going to continue. Dragon Ball still retains its popularity to this day, which is crazy. Okay. All right. So, what else would you guys like to talk about? We have a little bit of time left. Not a lot. We have a little bit of time left. If anyone else has a topic they'd like to discuss? What's up, Big Shooter? How are you? Welcome. How's it going? Here for another Crab's Treasure? You see, I've played all the Dragon Ball games from the last, like, decades. That's why I'm burnt out. Like, I played, I tried, what do you call it? Man, I'm having a brain fart. Dragon Ball Xenoverse and Xenoverse 2, which were almost exactly the same game. And then it was the Dragon Ball Z Fighters game. And then recently there was Dragon Ball Kakarot, right? I played all of those. So for me, I'm kind of burnt out on all of this. I'm completely burnt out. And it's to the point where it's just like, I'm not very interested anymore in Dragon Ball, Covenant Lazarus, thanks for the super chat. I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about. It sure sounds like drama, though. So I think I'm just going to abstain from it. I have no clue what you're speaking of. All I know is I'm not involved in anything you're talking about. So if you're trying to cause drama, congrats on the attempt. It didn't work. I really have no idea. I have no involvement in anything you're speaking of, nor will I. So, okay. Is Kat enjoying Fallout 4? What build does she have? Yes. She's playing a more guns build with intelligence and persuasion. She's persuading everyone constantly in conversation, while I'm doing the opposite. She's constant persuasion. So I think the crab game's on the same level as Lives of P. I have no idea. We're only 3 hours in. The early game is good. Just a little bit of wonkiness when it comes to the platforming and the controls, where I seem like I clip around certain things and the camera is getting kind of stuck or going through walls, which is a little annoying. But outside of that, the gameplay mechanics are sound. The world design is sound. We'll see as I get further in what I think. People person says, I honestly think this game is a gem, talking about the crab game, but I do think you're right. It's not going to get mega popular just because of the art style. I think that's really stupid. You got to give a game a chance despite its art style. At least give it a look, right? Maximum Turbo. Yes, I played Kakarot, and there's a full playthrough of the game right here on the channel you can check out from many years ago when it came out as a new release. However long that was, like, what, 5 years ago or something like that? I can't remember. I received a $6.66 tip from Gathering Hall Live. I forgot to include my name in the last one. Oh, you were the 420 tipper? Cool. Stellar Blade, any plans on looking into it? I get Bayonetta vibes from it. You obviously have not been around the channel for the last 2 months. All right? Here's the deal with Stellar Blade. The gameplay elements look good. Right? They do. But there's a couple factors involved. Number one, I'm just not that much into that style of game. Like, for example, I've played Bayonetta 1 before and 2. I thought 1 was decent. 2, I didn't even like as much. I, every once in a while, will play Devil May Cry games. I've played the last one. I thought it was all right. Like, I'm just not into that style of combat game. I think it's okay for a quick playthrough, but it's not a big deal. Same thing with this game. You know, I'm not going crazy over what I've seen in the combat. I think, oh, it'll be all right, but I'm not going nuts. Now, we already talked about this a million times, so I'm not going to talk about it in detail today. But sadly, with the art direction that they took for the game, with the main character being an over-sexualized woman, I know what's going to happen. If I play the game, we're going to have people in this chat constantly who are immature and constantly just objectifying the woman and talking about her constantly. Literally, this happens in games where that's not the focus, right? That happens when I play Street Fighter. That happens when I played Baldur's Gate. And it was unbearable. I was like, I don't want to put up with that. I don't want to be playing a game and trying to enjoy the gameplay elements of it. And I turn to the chat, and it's everyone talking about her breasts and her ass and sexualizing and having sex with her. It's like, I just don't want to see it. I don't want to sit here and have to be a fucking parent to a bunch of immature people in the chat. So I purposefully said, well, not super interested in the gameplay elements to begin with. And I know that's going to be immature stuff there, so I'm just not going to deal with it. I'm not playing it. Okay, which is fine. There's other things that I've been doing that are just as good, if not better. In fact, I'd argue the Fallout 4 playthrough is going very well for me. Now, in the meantime, the game comes out, and what's the one actual thing that's being criticized about the game? The story. Everyone's basically saying, the story's just not very good. It's meant to be a game where the gameplay carries it, and of course, if you like the sexualization of the main character or whatever, there you go. But the story isn't that good. So I'm like, so let me get this straight. It's the opposite of Nier Automata. Because on the surface, Nier Automata looks like a game where it's just fluff. But if you actually start playing Nier Automata, you get so immersed in this really cool story. You want to do the multiple runs. You want to do the multiple playthroughs of the different characters. And then at the end of the game, the fourth wall breaking, hilarious ending. I'm like, wow, it's super good. Not hilarious. I was going to say mind-blowing ending. So, yeah, I loved Nier Automata, and I don't get that vibe from this game at all. I get that this game wanted to do combat and sexual content, and that's it. That's all they cared about. So, care about that, you'll probably, again, it's kind of like Bayonetta. You'll probably like that. Personally, I don't like Bayonetta. 1 was okay, 2 I didn't like at all, and I skipped 3. So, obviously, another game that's kind of like Bayonetta, I'm just not going to care, and I'm going to skip, right? Okay, cool. All right, Covenant Lazarus. Well, last I checked, I'm not seeking out legal counsel from anyone. I'm also not seeking out legal counsel from a YouTuber. I would probably, if I actually was seeking out legal counsel from someone, I'd probably speak to a real lawyer, not someone who is a YouTuber. Just saying. There's a little difference between someone who their full-time job is practicing law and winning cases versus someone's full-time job is making YouTube videos. There's a little difference there. Yeah, I don't even know. I honestly have no idea what you're talking about. It sounds like you're trying to get drama stirred up. I don't know what you're talking about, nor do I care. None of that. If you've heard anything, it's completely untrue. I'm not involved in any legal battles or anything like that. I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about. So I think you got to stop listening to the wrong people. Now, he did a super chat saying Nick Riccietta is a lawyer. Nick Riccietta is a YouTuber. He is a YouTuber. His full-time job is making YouTube videos. Yes, they might have a legal nature, but he's a YouTuber and a streamer. He doesn't sit there at a law firm working all day. What are you talking about? Oh my God. People who are real lawyers actually sit there doing law all day because that's their job. They don't sit there making YouTube videos and streaming. I hate to tell you this. You're sorely mistaken. I swear what it is that people are just like, they really are just gullible people, okay? Like serious gullibility, right? I'm not saying that Nick is not a lawyer. I'm saying he's not a lawyer in the sense that he's not sitting there practicing law all day. He's a YouTuber. He just sits there making videos and streams. That's his job. It's okay to admit that. Now, he could be qualified to be a lawyer, but he is not. He's not a lawyer. That'd be like saying, I'm a doctor because I have the actual qualifications to be a doctor. Oh, by the way, I just sit here and play video games all day. Am I a doctor? No, not really. I mean, I could be if I wanted to be, but I'm not. I'm not an active doctor. He's not an active lawyer. He just makes videos. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not down talking him. I'm saying you're like saying like he's some great. Oh my God. No, you know what lawyers do? They practice law all day in their office and in court. They're busy. They can't make YouTube videos or streams because they're busy doing law and making money doing it. They don't have time for that shit. Oh my God. Covenant Lazarus, please just keep super chatting nonsense, and I'm just not going to read it anymore, but please, by all means, keep super chatting. I don't even know why you made this into an argument. There is no argument. Nick is a YouTuber and a streamer. That is his job. That is his occupation. It doesn't matter what you say. That is his occupation. You are being very silly. No, you didn't try to help. This is what I'm trying to tell you. If ever I had a reason to seek legal counsel, I would seek real legal counsel off of someone who is a YouTuber. Do you understand? The person who I would go to for help would not be a YouTuber. I would go find a real lawyer who practices all day, every day, and knows the ins and outs of law and would know what to do. I would not go to a YouTuber. I know, it's like, exactly, it's like talking to the wall. This is how these people are. Like, they become like these super fans of something, and then they just become like ultra defensive about stuff. Like, you understand, I'm not insulting Nick in any way, shape, or form. He has a very successful following as a YouTuber and a streamer discussing things of law. There's nothing wrong with that. That's to be commended and respectable, correct? But he's not a lawyer. He's not a practicing lawyer. He's not sitting there in court doing court cases. He's not working in his office doing law. He's a YouTuber and a streamer. How do you not understand that? And what is wrong with even saying that? Why are you so defensive about that? Right? That's what I'm saying. Like, if I needed help with legal stuff, the last person I would go to is someone who sits on YouTube on a stream all day. I would go to a lawyer who's an active practicing lawyer who does it all day, every day, because this is their forte, right? Like, why would I go to someone who's a YouTuber? It doesn't make any fucking sense what you're saying. Yikes. Anyway, any last minute stuff, guys, or shall we adjourn? I don't even know where the conversation came from, because the guy, literally, he started his conversation saying something like, so I was talking to Nick Recchietta, and he says, if you need legal help, he'll do it pro bono. Who needs legal help? There's no legal help needed for anything. There's nothing going on. What are you even talking about? Sounds like you went and had a conversation that has nothing to do with anything. Someone was talking drama, and you went over there to talk to someone else about it. Like, what are you even speaking of? I don't even know, and I don't care. Keep me out of your shit. I don't care about your nonsense. Okay. Fair enough. I think it's time to adjourn now. This is ridiculous. Ridiculous nonsense. All right, everyone. Well, thank you. Thank you for a fun podcast. Lots of news to discuss today. Tomorrow, I'm sure we'll be talking more about how Another Crab's Treasure is faring now that I have the parry and the plunge attack and all these other things unlocked. And of course, about my journey with Zangief. I hope I do well with Zangief tonight in ranked. I guess we'll find out. And we'll go from there. All right, but in the meantime, thank you all very much. And I appreciate you hanging out with me. Great day. And tomorrow we will do it all again, my friends. All right, thank you, and see you Wednesday.